Hi guys, welcome to this week's AMA. As we discussed before, we're going to have a bit of a change up with the AMA schedules because the project is in a position now where we have more medium-term goals. We're going to have a bi-weekly check-in from Herman about the development effort and the big strategic moves that are going on. And every second week, we're going to do a more exploratory and business focused discussion with myself and other people. We might invite some devs on, partners, and community members who are working on things with Cherry to discuss what's going on with them. I think this would be good because, on the first hand, it helps to free up more time for Herman, and bi-weekly updates are more appropriate when there isn't as much released they're working on bigger things that take a little bit longer to get through. And on the other hand, it allows us every second Wednesday to have an opportunity to explore some of the less high profile but still nonetheless interesting aspects of the Cherry ecosystem. So today will be our AMA, so to speak, and then next week we'll have Herman with more updates on a strategic level. So I'm just going to give kind of a recap of what's been going on and just an overall update about the project. And we had an interesting discussion with Herman 2 weeks ago. I'm going to just I have to clarify a couple of things that were discussed, and that's why there was a delay with the recap, but I'm going to have that done today and just adjust a couple of details and then upload that into the chat so you guys can anybody who missed it or just wanted to read the text version can look over that. Everything that Herman discussed is on track. They're still working very hard, our developers, to push forward with the next horizon of tooling for the ecosystem. And also, of course, Cherry storage, which will be the next big target on our roadmap. This is quite an exciting time for the project because this is where we really get to grips with the market. This is where we really push out products that are going to deliver hopefully strong revenue to the project. Will bring more developers into our ecosystem, and this is the lifeblood of any good Web3 project. And while it's good at the same time to have a lot of kind of glitzy partnerships announced, etc., it's only really going to last as long as the momentum from real development progress is sustained. So over the next few months is when Cherry really becomes a tech platform, so to speak, or a tech competitor in its own right. Up until now, things like the Layer 0 release, the bridges, EVM compatibility, these things are necessary building blocks to put into place before we approach the market. But now that they're all in place, we can go on and push on and try and get hard revenue coming into the ecosystem, which is what will ultimately this will ultimately lead to the success of the wider project. So this is quite exciting for the reasons I outlined, and also because this will give the community a more tangible opportunity to really use Cherry. We're trying to get into the situation, which I'll mention a little bit more in a few minutes, where we have something that our community can go and talk to the people that they know or their colleagues or their friends in the Web3 space and show them what Cherry can do and why it's good. I think that, for example, the light paper that we've released a couple of years ago now, all of those architectural and technical targets are either achieved or that's still the plan. There hasn't been any substantial change in the design of what the Cherry network will be. But sending someone a light paper or showing them a light paper or whatever isn't, or the Cherry Explorer, while it is cool, it's not something that really grips people with the potential of the Cherry network. So in the near future, we'll be able to kind of pitch the ecosystem in a much more tangible way, insofar as people can, in a very easy way, immediately start using storage, which is the main value proposition of the Cherry project. It's storage, and specifically creating a storage solution for Web3 for large and small companies, down to the level of individual developers who are building cool things in Web3 and want to have something that is very busy business ready. Whereas a lot of other storage products or projects, and this is something that Herman touched on a couple of weeks ago, while they do have a lot of hype behind them, if you look at the raw technology, it doesn't necessarily take your breath away. And we are certain that although we're relative to those larger companies, we are not as large as them now. But the best thing about tech, and specifically Web3, is that it all depends on how good your technology is, not how much kind of marketing hype, or not how much is going on from that perspective. So this is quite exciting for us. I see Brewer just mentioned there. Yeah, Herman clarified that he wasn't able to make the AMA today, but he will. He has a lot to discuss with us. And moving on to that, actually, Herman did make a small announcement of sorts in the chat earlier, and talked about something that would inject a good deal of life in short order into the ecosystem, into the Cherry community, which we're looking forward to. I'm not going to discuss any more details, but it is cool. We don't discuss any more details because, of course, these things are subject to change, subject to clarification and confirmation. We never, dangle these things in front of our community and say that they're definite, so that people should, take them as gospel. But we do like to share, insofar as is prudent, anything that we can share, and anything that looks like it's coming up on the horizon. And this is the same for potential interaction with other companies, or moves that we make in terms of the business setup of Cherry, and also, of course, technical releases that are coming up. We do try and share as much info as we can as soon as possible. I know that a lot of people in our community are really, really enthusiastic and dying for more news and more details. We love to share as soon as we can, but unfortunately, it's not really a good idea, because the last thing we want to do is to, kind of come up with, things that are going to happen in the future that don't materialize. We don't believe that that's a very good way to run the business. So Herman gave an idea of what was coming up earlier today. He messaged us about 9 a.m. this morning. So we're going to, as Boer said, there's no major updates beyond what he mentioned earlier, but that will be pretty cool if and when it comes to fruition. So I'm looking forward to being able to discuss more about that in the near future. Herman does have things that he envisages being able to share with us in the next few days, probably next Wednesday. So you can expect more information then. In the meantime, we, and by we I mean those of us in the community, in the company, on the business side, have our work cut out for us. We have plenty to be doing. We're kind of designing what the new social and web presence will look like. I'm hoping that over the next week we will be far more active on social media. We love when people in our community critique and kind of make suggestions about what we should be doing. That's really good. We have kind of a full slate of things to discuss. We're going to just try and represent the company in a much more comprehensive way on Twitter, on Telegram, etc. And that will be quite beneficial for the project in the very short term. As I said, it's a matter of days. We'll kick this off, and then people will, it'll just inject a bit more enthusiasm into both the community and people that come across Cherry online. So we're looking forward to being able to show you that. Aside from that, just from a technical perspective, the bridge has been incrementally improved day by day and week by week over the past few weeks. There isn't that many issues that people have with it at the moment. There was a couple of issues with a couple of users last week, which were all seen to, thankfully. And we appreciate everybody's patience. It's quite a complex piece of software that has been put out. It's quite a complex upgrade. And we're glad that it's now running smoothly for almost everyone. And as always, if it's not running smoothly, you can just drop a message in the chat or send me a DM. I think that everyone has DM'd me about this has been set on the right course and has been it's made whole, sorted out, so to speak. So that's great to see. And the thing about the bridge, and also with the layer 0 release, and then thereafter the EVM release, these things are, as I said a minute ago, they're very difficult. We have some very talented developers. It's a very kind of high IQ problem that these people are dealing with, or set of problems. Cryptography is complex in and of itself, but when you're kind of cryptography in practice, and especially cryptography in practice where there's money on the line, as in the network security and the security of funds in the Cherry ecosystem are of prime importance, then it adds an extra level of pressure and complexity again. So it's good to reflect on the kind of progress that we've made in the recent past, in the last few months, last couple of years, and that's going to continue. Boer and Herman and the rest of our development team are working quite hard. As someone mentioned in the chat yesterday, there's constant updates being made to the GitHub. And I think, now this is from my uneducated perspective, but I think that the next wave of releases in terms of the storage module will be they'll bring an awful a transformative effect to the activity on the Cherry network. So that's really cool. I already mentioned the social media uptick that you'll see over the next few days. Aside from that, we have an investor letter that's going to go out over the next couple of days, probably at the latest next Monday. I will kind of edit some aspects of that because some of it sometimes we do in our investor letters, which isn't the newsletter, by the way, but the investor letter that goes out to our larger partners, investment partners. Sometimes it mentions certain partners and stuff, so I'll have to redact a couple of things from that, but then I will post the copy of it into the chat. I would say by next Monday at the latest. And because we have a tight community, I think that would be good for you guys to understand some of the ways that we're interacting with our major partners. So that's cool. And yeah, aside from revamping the social media, we're also going to kind of expand that into revamping the image of the Cherry network completely. This is something that people have been asking for and hoping to see. So we're glad to be able to deliver that over the next week or so. And for example, what that would involve would be the DAO forum that we have is going to be populated with more articles explaining what Cherry does, explaining how to use Cherry, and these kind of things. I think we're going to update the roadmap and release a project diary fairly soon as well. So that's going to be pretty good. And aside from that, what I'm going to do is we have I'm going to revamp the hype squad, so to speak, which is what we called it in the past, and we're going to call it, we're going to use it to represent Cherry in the wider Web3 sphere. I'm going to try and get on that over the next couple of days, and hopefully we can just get rolling, because that is a good avenue. I think people remember around mainnet release, we were attracting a lot of good attention into Cherry and onto Cherry, so that'll be good to kick off again. And Aside from that, I'm going to revamp the Telegram channel to add, I can't remember the exact term for this. Is it different channels in Telegram? But anyway, what it involves is essentially adding tags to the discussions in Telegram, which will enable people to be able to, let's say, for example, look up any previous kind of support requests or discussions. We can discuss wider Web3 news. We can discuss, all the different categories of things that we talk about in the Cherry group will be categorized so that we can, and I think that they pop up along the right in the Telegram group so that you can read them, and it just brings a bit more order and also makes it more active. We're going to try and increase the activity in the groups as well. We're going to discuss what's going on. We're going to be asking people for their views. We're going to ask people to share what they're working on and things like that. Because now that the project is coming to a phase where we will be, as I said at the start of the call, we'll be engaging or competing in the market. And it's good if we have that kind of added discussion there. And by virtue of being more active kind of economically in terms of our business, what we're putting forward as our business, kind of what we're competing on in terms of storage, that will in turn bring more people into the community, and that will then hopefully there'll be this kind of virtuous cycle where we have a lot of buzz and a lot of energy and a lot of information flowing in the Telegram chat. So that'll be pretty good. Aside from that, I have a meeting with some of our partners tomorrow, and this will inform some of the things that I add into the investor newsletter. And then aside from that, we're going to get to work, and the hackathon ideas that we had have kind of been put on the long finger. Also, a couple of things around the website redesign, which someone mentioned today or yesterday. We're still working on that in the background, but now it's time to refocus on that properly. So in the coming days and weeks, you can expect more news and indeed deliverables on these things. And in the meantime, of course, we will have Herman's update coming hopefully by next week. He's just going to give us an idea of what's going on, and hopefully he'll have more news from regarding the small announcement he made today. We're quite busy at the moment today. I have another call in 9 minutes with a potential partner from the finance side. So I'm going to leave this call now. We're not going to do the quiz today. Another rewards for the quiz again. I think there's a few people outstanding that need to get their rewards. So I'm going to try and get on that this week as well. And I will, in the meantime, I'm going to recap what I've discussed now. And then I'm going to release the recap of Herman's big chat that he had with us a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to release that too. So anyone who isn't up to speed or hasn't been able to join in the AMAs, including this one, you'll be able to get up to speed on everything that we've been discussing and everything that's going on in the project. And as I said, we'll release detail things like the investor letter, etc., over the next few days as well. Things are moving quite quickly, and we're all very busy in the project. We're keen to latch onto or capitalize on the increased energy in the Web3 space at the moment. The industry is in a much better place today than it was a good few months ago, which is great to see. And we're keen to get involved, both in terms of increasing the profile of the project, and also in terms of market and putting Cherry products out there. The first that will come up will, of course, be the storage product. So if you stay tuned over the next couple of days, I'll follow up on a lot of these points, and we'll have the recaps of this and Herman's chat coming this evening. So thank you very much for joining in, and I'll keep you posted as to these details as they come out. Thanks very much, guys. I'll leave it there.